It's fun to watch.
Boy, he's putting on a clinic.
Oh, my. It's out of here.
Gone for Ronald Acuna. Hold on, Yasiel Puig.
The Dodgers led the majors in attendance at 3.9 million. That's around 47,000 a game. Not every seat filled just yet, but once they get around to starting this one, it'll be pretty close to a sellout, if not a sellout, as we welcome you to the Doosan NLDS telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. You could not ask for a better early October evening for baseball. 72 degrees as the Dodgers host the Braves in game one of this best-of-5 division series. And John, the story is the pitching pairing. Not only who is pitching, Hyunjin Ryu for the Dodgers, but who is not.
Yeah, well, the Braves had the luxury of setting up their rotation because they had Clint Shirley. The Dodgers, not so much. So, yes, when Kershaw's not the first starter, you question what's going on. It's all about rest, and it's about Ryu and his dominance down the stretch. If you look at the numbers, he's been outstanding. So for the Dodgers, game one, game two is just as important. And for Foltynewicz, it has been an absolute breakout year. He's their best pitcher. He's got great stuff, and these two guys are going to go head-to-head.
People expected the Dodgers to win the National League West, and they did for the 6th consecutive season. But they had to go to a 163rd game, a tiebreaker against the Rockies, so it was a rockier road than they expected. No one expected the Braves to win the National League East. They turned it around completely. They were 72-90 a year ago. This year, 90-72.
Yeah, and they've done it with exciting players offensively. Albies had an unbelievable first half, led him to an all-star selection. He was the MVP in the first half. The second half, Acuna Jr. comes on the scene in dominance. But, oh, by the way, Freeman and Markakis, just your average studs every year. You can pencil them in for 162 games. That's what has made the Braves so special. For the Dodgers, it's kind of the same thing. They've got a rock star lineup, and they do it with power. The best other than the Yankees. Manny Machado comes over and replaces Seager. They get an outbreak season from Max Muncy with 35 homers, and then again Justin Turner, when he's healthy, the best hitter on the team. So these two offenses mirror each other in a lot of ways and are going to be able to score runs if the pitchers aren't on their game.
Dodger Stadium is rocking already. We hope that Tom Verducci can hear us because he's up next. Tom?
I got you, Bob. You know, the Dodgers tonight will see one of the best sliders in all of baseball from Mike Foltynewicz. That means an even bigger role for the heart and soul of their lineup, Justin Turner. He's one of the best hitters in baseball at hitting sliders and curveballs. He hits with this high lay pitch, which allows him to buy time to hit the baseball. Breaking pitches are designed to get a hitter out in front. Turner can wait longer. As you can see here, he can hit those pitches to all parts of the field. What you also notice is these pitches are in the zone. His key to hitting breaking pitches, don't chase. Force Foltynewicz in the strike zone. Now, how good is Justin Turner at hitting breaking pitches? StatCast AI, powered by AWS, tells us only Jose Altuve is better in all of baseball at hitting sliders and curveballs. Now, Turner turned his career around 4 years ago with a major swing change. He has a teammate that has done the same thing. We'll talk about the ballad of Max Muncy, how he went from being released to hitting third tonight in the Dodger lineup. And speaking of sweet swings, how about Freddie Freeman? We'll talk about the key to his swing against left-handed pitching. And Bob, he and the Braves will see a lot of left-handed pitching in this series.
All right, Tom, thanks. Much more from Tom Verducci as the evening rolls along. Right now, we'll step aside for just a moment. When we come back, the lineups and the first pitch from Dodger Stadium. Welcome back to the Doosan NLDS on MLB Network. Hyunjin Ryu taking the mound Game 1 of this best of 5. The winner gets either the Brewers or the Rockies in the NLCS. Here's the lineup for the Braves, who went 90-72 after 4 consecutive losing seasons. They had won the division in 2013, then lost the division series, as it happens, to the Dodgers. Then the trapdoor opened. They were in a rebuilding mode, so it seemed, and then they all of a sudden got ahead of schedule and went all the way to the top of the National League East. It didn't hurt that the Phillies, who were neck and neck with them into August, really saw the bottom drop out, and they wound up finishing under 500, and the Nats had a disappointing season from start to finish. The lineups were presented by Geico.
Well, for the Dodgers, the big story is no Kershaw, but Ryu has been outstanding of late. He has had some health issues, but he has the ability to mix and match with 4 or 5 different pitches. And certainly he's hoping to get the Dodgers off to a good start. You see the numbers in his last 3 starts, 3-0 with a microscopic 0.47 ERA.
For the year, Ryu was 7-3. ERA 1.97. As you said, even better of late, and that's after missing 3 months with a groin injury. Pitches especially well at Dodger Stadium, 5-2 in 9 starts here, with an ERA barely over 1. Tonight's first pitch is presented by YouTube TV. Cable-free live TV is here. And that first pitch will be thrown to the likely National League Rookie of the Year, Ronald Acuna Jr., only 20 years old. Juan Soto, even younger at 19, had a terrific season for the Nats, but this guy is odds on to win the award. He had 293 with 26 home runs.
And be careful on the first pitch. He likes the first pitch, as do most of the Braves.
He takes that first pitch for a strike. Adrian Johnson is the plate umpire. Lance Barksdale at first. The crew chief, Gary Cederstrom, is at second. Tom Hallion at third. 6 umpires, of course, in a postseason game. Right field line, Doug Eddings. Left field line, Jim Reynolds. 1-1.
Well, Acuna, the second half has just been unbelievable since they put him in the leadoff spot. Of course, he going to set all kinds of records if he stays healthy. Hit a bunch of home runs to lead off the game.
Shift on against him. 3 infielders on the left side. Slices that one foul.
And really, he's just got a unique style of hitting. You know, most guys with their hand position, when they want to move their hands back and create a rubber band effect, and he just kind of keeps it right there. That's how strong he is. He keeps his hands right there and goes right to the baseball, and hoping for a mistake from the pitcher.
Tapped foul, still 1-2. On the mound, Hyunjin Ryu is 31 years old, from South Korea, as you know, 6'3" and a husky 250. As we look at Acuna, you see that in the second half, as he adjusted to big league pitching, he really took off, hitting .322 with 19 of his 26 total home runs. Two and two.
Ryu's a really good athlete. You're going to see it when he steps in the box too. He can handle the bat, handle the mound, fluid delivery. Fastball, curveball, got a cutter and a changeup. The changeup's going to be one of those pitches that he's going to rely on, along with that curveball, to change speeds on the hitter.
Hopped up on the infield. It's Kike Hernandez. 1 out.
So here's going to be the breakdown for most part. These are his averages throughout the year, and subject to change if he's off a little bit. But there's the 4-seam fastball. It's not a high usage. The cutter, another version of a fastball, but there's the curveball and changeup. Equal usage of the off speed and occasional sinkers, but he likes to cut it away to a right-hander, try to get that backdoor strike, and then he'll throw that curveball to change the eye level.
and then cut it in on his hands with the cutter.
Here's Johan Camargo, the switch-hitting third baseman. Ryu, as you may know, spent 7 years with the Hanwha Eagles in South Korea. Even before that, he was a sensation as a schoolboy and became even more of a national hero when he won the Olympic gold medal game in 2008 in Beijing against Cuba. Came to the Dodgers in 2013, won 14 games, each of his first 2 seasons with LA. Then shoulder problems essentially cost him all of the next 2 seasons. Came back last year, had a so-so season, then seemed to regain his form in 2018 until that groin injury sidelined him for 3 months. But as soon as he came back, as you said, Smoltz, his sharpness was there.
Yeah, he's been outstanding, and he mixes it up. You got to be selective, and you cannot expand the strike zone because he's got 4 different ways to get you out.
2-2.
The one thing that's going to be interesting for today and the series is the Braves are really good when they control the count, meaning when they're ahead of the count, they're as good as it gets. When they're behind in the count, they could drop to 29th in baseball. So even in the count, they're really good. It's just they can't afford to get deep in the count with the way that these Dodger pitchers can put you away and the success they have as a staff. Here's the information to back that up.
He lays off, full count. For whatever it may be worth, during the regular season, the Dodgers won 5 of 7 from Atlanta. Every game mattered right up until this one for the Dodgers. On the other hand, Brian Snitker's Braves clinched early. In the air to left, Jock Peterson has it lined up.
Baseman number 5, Freddie Freeman.
And now Freddie Freeman. When they were shuffling the deck in Atlanta trying to rebuild the club, this is the one guy they held on to as the cornerstone through all the lean years. Now at age 29, he's really savoring this. Hit better than 300 against both right-handed and left-handed pitching. In fact, over the last 3 years, no left-handed hitter in all of baseball has a better batting average against southpaws than Freeman.
Well, his unique batting style, he stays inside the ball, stays with his hands, waits as long as he can, chokes up on the bat, and has that strange follow-through that you don't see out of a lot of hitters.
Hits it up the middle. They had the shift on, but he found a space, and there's a 2-out single.
And see, that's what I'm talking about, being able to wait long and not overextend. That way he can go to all parts of the field depending on where the pitch is, and that's what makes him so special. Look, this ball's hit right down the middle, and he knows exactly where everyone's playing, and he's a hitting machine. Power numbers went down the last 40 games or so, but his average stayed up, and as you mentioned, he's going to be facing a lot of left-handers, it looks like, in this series, so it doesn't bother him, and it doesn't bother the guy that's at the plate right now, Markakis.
With that hit, Freeman is now 9 for 12 lifetime against Ryu. Here's one of baseball's best stories in 2018. 34-year-old Nick Markakis made his first All-Star team, hit .297. A late 3 for 23 swoon at the end of the season cost him a 300 year. He wound up at .297. Played in all 162 games for Atlanta.
Well, since the neck surgery a couple of years ago, his power has come back, and certainly the durability speaks for it. An All-Star selection, and he's hoping to end that drought of getting to a World Series, games played without being in a World Series type statistic.
No active player has appeared in more games without making it to the World Series than Markakis. 2001 to be exact. Roll toward Hernandez, and that puts an end to the top of the first. Presented by Geico. In a sense, it was a typical year for Justin Turner. Missed the first 40 games with a broken wrist. He's made 5 trips to the disabled list over the last 5 years, but when he's in there, he's a terror. Hit .312 for the season, and as you see, even better than that in the second half. As a team, the Dodgers hit a franchise record 235 home runs. Jock Peterson had 25 of them. Only the Yankees, with a major league record of 267, hit more home runs this year than the Dodgers.
Well, Foltynewicz has had a career year in just about every category, and he's been dominant. The record may not show how dominant he's been. Fastball, slider, curveball, change. But the key is going to be trying to get through a very aggressive home run hitting lineup, but not expanding the zone as a whole. They make you work, the Dodgers lineup. And so if Mike Foltynewicz can limit how many full counts, how many deep counts, and use that slider, especially left-handers, back foot slider right here or during the game.
Here's a high drive to deep right center field, back near the wall, and a leaping attempt, but it's gone. Inciarte, who is an outstanding center fielder, gave it everything he had. But just as we were mentioning that the Dodgers had a franchise record 235 home runs, Jock Peterson starts this series with a round tripper that puts them up 1-0.
That's the first hit off of Foltynewicz for the short 6 at-bats he had with 3 strikeouts. And I mentioned that back foot slider because that's how he struck him out 3 different times. But he went with the high fastball. And Jock Peterson has made major adjustments from last year, this year. That power showed up early already for the Dodgers.
Now Turner, who rips it down the left field line, possible extra bases around first, and he'll cruise into second with a double.
Tried to go with a high fastball, and he stays in there away. If that ball's in, I don't think he can do much with it, but it floats away, and it lets the velocity and the power of Jock Peterson do the work. And you see just outside the stretches of Inciarte, and the Dodgers have come out aggressive early, swinging.
Rough start for Foltynewicz, who was 13-10 with an ERA under 3 for the year. Max Muncy, talk about a revelation. 5 career home runs prior to this season. 7 times that in 2018.
It's
35.
It's amazing, and that's what the Dodgers did last year. They had 3 guys have breakout years, and here comes a guy that nobody could have thought would have these kind of numbers. And let me tell you something, he does not miss a pitch middle in if you throw it there.
The A's released him a year ago. The Dodgers picked him up. Never brought him up to the big leagues. Spent all of 2017 at AAA Oklahoma City. Then this year, he led the majors in home runs per time at bat. Hit 1 for just over every 11 at bats, including 1 against the Rockies at the division tiebreaker on Monday.
So here's the challenge for Mike Foltynewicz. You come in with a game plan. You got a great fastball. You want to show them that you're not afraid to throw your fastball. And the first couple hitters put a dent to that confidence. You have to stay within yourself and make sure that you don't deviate too far from what you looked at, all the film you watched, all the numbers you see. This lineup is long and will make you work for everything.
The 2-1 foul back. So if you prefer to look at the math this way, Max Muncy hit those 35 home runs in 395 at-bats, and there it is.
It's incredible at-bat to home run ratio, and he just doesn't. There's only one vulnerable area that he has, and that's that down and in breaking ball that you can get him. But he doesn't expand too often up. He won't expand away. He'll take his walks. It's really been an incredible year that Max Muncy has put together.
3 infielders on the right side against him.
And see, that's the right idea. He just has to get more of the plate when it comes out of his hand, meaning the ball has to look to the hitter like it's going to stay on the plate. That one came out of his hand, and Muncy saw that as a ball right away. I wouldn't be surprised. You could back this pitch up that slider right off the inside part. See what Flowers and Foltynewicz go to.
He draws a walk. Homer, double, walk.
Well, here's the breakdown for what Foltynewicz has, and it's that four-seam fastball that's electric, 98 miles an hour. The slider that's hard to hit. If that slider turns the corner, most hitters don't have a chance. Two-seam fastball, he'll mix in and try to create some movement. And then the curveball and changeup's primarily going to be to left-handers. Now, right-handers at the plate, he will change those percentages to fastball slider for the most part.
Doesn't get any easier for Foltynewicz. Here's Manny Machado. Between the Orioles and the Dodgers, he hit .297 with 37 home runs.
When you have the season, you build up the stats to tell the story of each player. And when you look through the stats of Manny Machado, you cannot find too many bad ones. There's 100 out there and only 2 strikes and behind in the count. That's the only place he's vulnerable. Everything else has what I consider a red number or a hot number to it. And when you think about losing your star shortstop and the Dodgers go out and get another star shortstop, it's a pretty good exchange.
Good acquisition, even if it's just a rental, after Corey Seager had to miss the entire season with Tommy John surgery. That'll make the seats. Talk about a good time to become a free agent. At age 26, already one of the top players in baseball. The only thing working against him, which will reduce the pot of gold only slightly, if at all, is that he spent most of his career at Camden Yards, a hitter's paradise, where he slugged .536. In all other ballparks, almost 100 points less, .446. The 1-1 pitch.
There's that two-seamer that caught the outside corner. Manny Machado's actually a really good high ball hitter. You would think by his swing plane he'd like the ball down. Look at the late movement on this one, catching the corner. You've got to get him now, extended his eyes out over the plate with some breaking ball. Otherwise, in the middle of the plate, he has such a beautiful swing and power to the gaps.
Two on, nobody out, a run already home on the Peterson homer. And the 1-2 pitch to Machado. Got him looking.
Well, Manning's going to let him know that that ball's low. And there's the slider. And the slider for Foltynewicz goes one of two ways. It can go straight down and it has a little tilt to the left. But this one right here, bottom of the zone, and Manny's going to go check the film and realize he was correct in his first assessment, but nonetheless a huge out for Foltynewicz.
It brings up Yasmani Grandal. He hit just .241, but with 24 home runs. Among all catchers, only Sal Perez of the Royals with 27 had more. Here's the deal, or part of the deal, with Foltynewicz. His average four-seamer is around 97, and sometimes he hits triple digits. His two-seamer produces a lot of ground balls and therefore double plays in situations like this. Over the course of the season, he has struck out 1 out of every 4 hitters he's faced.
Yeah, he definitely has the front end rotations ace stuff, and he has developed into that this year. And part of that reason is they made some changes to his delivery, which allowed him to be more around the plate and consistent, because walks are still an issue from time to time. And in this day and age, we know pitchers don't go 7-8 innings, but they're going to need Foltynewicz to make every use of his pitch count tonight and get them at least past the 5th inning and not get into the bullpen sooner than that.
Standard shift against Grandal in that the second baseman is not on the outfield grass. They look for the opportunity to turn 2. They won't have to. 2 consecutive strikeouts when Foltynewicz needed them.
And see, that's the area right there against left-handers that he's got to stay consistent with. And I know the first batter, he wanted to go after him with fastballs. I guarantee you against Peterson, he's going to throw this pitch. It's a tight slider, and the spin is so tight that the hitters don't recognize the spin. You know, you're sitting at home and you're going, why would a hitter swing at a pitch like that? Well, when you got to respect 98 and you have tight spin on a breaking ball like that, That's what makes it so tough.
Last year's unanimous National League Rookie of the Year, Cody Bellinger, 39 home runs. That dipped a bit to 25 this year, but included one in the tiebreaker against the Rockies on Monday.
In talking to Dave Roberts, asking about Cody Bellinger, as you see Foltynewicz just looking at a scouting report, you see more and more of that. Pitchers put it in the back pocket. That helps speed up play, less meetings at the mound, and less strain on your memory. But the point I wanted to make about Bellinger, he had a horrible postseason where sometimes that carries over into this year, and it did. He had a rough start. But both he and Turner Ward have been working, along with Justin Turner, the influence of trying to get him to adapt to certain things, because pitchers are going to adapt. You see the numbers, 29 strikeouts. He got exposed. But he's had a nice bounce back from about June on.
The 2-0 pitch is in there. Yeah, he had 3 October home runs, but more often than not, he was swinging and missing. 29 overall strikeouts through 3 rounds of the playoffs, and 17 in 29 plate appearances in the World Series against the Astros.
That last impression will humble you. That'll make you realize what the pitchers were able to do. They were elevating fastballs up, crowding them in, and he was completely off balance and lost his obvious confidence and timing.
Now he's ahead on the count, 3-1. You know, when you talk about Bellinger with Puig waiting on deck, you focus on the hitting statistics. Easy to overlook what a really good outfielder he is, and how he's a nearly Gold Glove first baseman. Although he doesn't play there all the time, splits his time between the outfield and infield. That's going to load the bases. Puig has had his moments through the years, both good and bad, but in the minds of Dodger fans, he can do no wrong.
I tell you what, he has had a strange year. If you think about his splits, right-handers against left-handers, I mean, polar opposites of what you think. He's been really, really good on the road, not so much at home. Right-handers, he's dominated. He's made a lot of adjustments, and he's excitable.
He's electric and enigmatic. His stats are inverted, like you said. 297 with 19 homers against right-handed pitching. 209 with 4 homers against lefties. Bases loaded, and a chance for the Dodgers to really do some damage early.
Well, if you're going to have success against Puig, it's got to be early, because as the innings build up, he gets a lot better. Anywhere he bats in the first or third inning, he's almost 140 points lower than in the middle innings and certainly late in the game. So something activates for him. But I'm sure having the bases loaded in the first inning in the postseason will get you locked in.
Turner at third, Muncy at second, Bellinger at first.
That's it.
Foltynewicz trying to survive the first. Chopped foul. Past the third base coach, Chris Woodard. George Lombard is the coach at first for the Dodgers.
2 ex-Braves.
Folty, as his teammates call him, about to unleash his 25th pitch of the bottom of the first. And he falls behind 2-1.
You can imagine the adrenaline, first postseason game. Braves have been waiting around to get to this point where the Dodgers have been playing pretty much the last 10 games, playoff games for them to get to this point. You can't lose your touch pitches. That's the hardest thing at this moment when the tension gets highest and you're in the first inning just hoping to get out of this jam.
Sean Newcomb is already throwing in the Atlanta bullpen. In the playoffs, the leash is shorter. Rocketed foul.
I mean, I would almost think 100% slider here, but Puig has been so much more quiet at the plate, less of a jump out, off balance type hitter against right-handed pitchers.
The count runs out full with the bases loaded and 2 out. This is not SunTrust Park in July. Dodger Stadium in October. Fultonevich's first postseason start. The 3-2. Got him. Well, he struck out 3 and he stranded 3. The Peterson homer that opened the bottom of the first is all the Dodgers get. 1-0 after 1. The National League Division Series is presented by Doosan, official partner of Major League Baseball, and this MLB Network telecast is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save. Strike 1 to Tyler Flowers as we move to the second. A home run by that man, Jock Peterson, is the difference to this point. 1-0 Dodgers. 0-2. It almost goes without saying in most situations, but we'll say it anyway. There are 3 infielders on the left side, and that pitch is high. Ryu is working tonight on 5 days rest. Kershaw will also be on 5 days rest tomorrow. It's worth noting that 12 of Kershaw's last 15 starts have been on at least 5 days rest, sometimes more. Down goes Flowers. Strikeout number 1 for Ryu.
Well, right now Ryu looks really good in his fastball and change of speed. So he's got 11 to 12 miles an hour between what they see as a fastball and what they see as his breaking ball or changeup, and that is a good sign for a starting pitcher under the gun. As you look at the defense, and Machado playing shortstop, proving the world when he becomes a free agent that's still a position he can play.
It's a position he says he wants to play. Ozzie Albies takes ball 1. He hit .261 for the year, had a fall off in the second half. Switch hitter who's better from the right side than the left. Hits out of an open stance and bounces one towards short, and there is Machado. Albies' speed made it close, but that's the second out.
Center field number 11, Ender Inciarte.
Ender Inciarte, who made an heroic attempt to pull back the Jock Peterson home run. It didn't clear the fence by much, and Inciarte, at the peak of his leap, almost got a piece of it. He has made some highlight reel plays this year. Hit .265 with 10 home runs. You know, you live in Atlanta, so you know this better than I. It's not just that the Braves have been surprisingly good. they've been exciting and often dramatic. Late rallies, walk-offs.
Yeah, they definitely found ways to grind themselves back in the game and then winning last at bat type games.
You got to look at Brian Snitker, who'll turn 63 on October 17th. 42 years in the Atlanta organization as a minor league catcher, minor league coach and manager, third base coach, bench coach. Now the manager of a division champion. And he was very emotional when they clinched, and I asked him about it before the game, and he said it wasn't any one thing. It was all those bus rides in the minors, all the time away from home, my wife holding the family together from April through October, all the times we had to move, take the kids out of school.
Well, he's seen it all, and he's been part of the Braves for that 40 years, and certainly his gut must have been churning in the first inning with the bases loaded and the game in balance with either a big inning or the one run that Foltynewicz was able to prevent.
That's out of play, 3-2.
But in this day and age where so much has changed and so many younger managers that are more connected with analytics seems to be the flavor of the month, it's refreshing to see a guy, and I'm sure that's part of his emotions, to have spent all that time in the organization, get rewarded, and then find yourself in the playoffs. First time for him as a manager.
And the 3-2 pitch toward Peterson, who backs up and makes the play. The Braves go quietly at the top of the second. Still 1-0 Dodgers. And you're watching the Doosan NLDS telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. You are.
That's from the 2018 season for the Dodgers.
Welcome back to the Doosan NLDS telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. We mentioned that the winner of this series gets the winner of the best of 5 between the Brewers and the Rockies. Craig Counsell went with an all bullpen game. They had a 1-hit shutout going through 8 and led at Miller Park 2-0 going to the 9th. The Rockies battled back and tied it, forced extra innings, but the Brewers just won it on a Mike Moustakas single in the 10th, so they go up 1-0 on Colorado, winning 3-2. Kike Hernandez cuts and misses, a ball and a strike. He had 256 for the year with 21 home runs.
Kike's been unbelievable for the Dodgers, as they do have a lot of depth on their team. They can utilize a lot of players depending on who's on the mound, depending on which position they want them to play in the field. Kike's one of those guys. This will be a big inning, obviously, for Mike Foltynewicz to regain his touch and heartbeat back to where it gets closer to a regular season game. You could tell first inning, fastball, overthrowing it, pulling it. Got to get back to the touch he had to finish out the season.
You look around Dodger Stadium and the vista out beyond the pavilion and the center field wall. One of the most pleasing sights in all of baseball. This is the 3rd oldest ballpark in the majors. Still much younger than Fenway and Wrigley. Opened in 1962. And a called strike 3. So 4 strikeouts. Every out that Foltynewicz has recorded has been a K.
Number 99,
Greg Amsinger's in the studio, no doubt, to show us how the Brewers won that game against Colorado. Greg? And as we come back, here's a harmless fly ball to center field, which Inciarte makes the catch on. And that retires Ryu.
Ryu can handle the bat, and that 1 pitch out was big for Foltynewicz. He needs to get back into the pitch count game if he wants to go deep into this game. But Ryu can swing it.
Well, small sample, but he was 7 for 26 in this injury-plagued season for him. That's 269, and for his career, 185, which is not bad for a pitcher. Here's Jock Peterson, who started it for the Dodgers with a homer over the fence in right center. Called strike. Let's go to Tom.
Well, that was the pitch I thought Foltynewicz might throw at 0-2. Jock Peterson, the third worst hitter in baseball against breaking pitches. Foltynewicz coming out of the gate throwing 3 straight fastballs. The third one at an 0-2 count. Almost all of Jock Peterson's damage is off velocity, off the fastball. You can see Flowers wanted the pitch higher up, but getting Jock Peterson in a defensive count and giving him a hittable fastball, that's a mistake.
A mistake for which he paid the full price. Here's his 0-2. Nubbed foul.
And that's what I was talking about in the first inning. You know, the back foot slider, we're seeing curveballs, but I still think that back foot slider to Peterson is a better pitch when he's geared on velocity. And it just kind of alters your brain a little bit when you give up an 0-2 home run in your first postseason game. You start thinking differently than you would if that would have been an 0-2 fly ball out.
That hit him, and down to first base he goes.
Well, that was the slider, but pulled it inside and actually hit Peterson rather than. And then he almost wanted to swing at this pitch to show you where he's vulnerable in there.
A moment ago, you saw the shot in the Atlanta dugout. That was Chuck Hernandez, their pitching coach, next to the manager, Brian Snitker. Justin Turner had a ringing double down the left field line his first time up against Foltynewicz. In tight.
Oh, go ahead.
2-0 to Turner. Justin is 33 years old. He knocked around for a while before finding himself with the Dodgers. The last 2 years combined, .318 and an OPS approaching 1,000.
He's got an unbelievable timing mechanism with that front leg. He picks it up and he alters it based on the way that he feels to get his foot down and hands in position to hit the baseball. And I asked him a couple springs ago, you know, how that evolved and what that did for him, and he said it's everything. And sometimes it'll be a little slower, sometimes it'll be a little higher, but it's an ability that he has. Until his wrist injury, he attacked and crushed fastballs. It's taken a while to him get back. That's why he's been such a good breaking ball hitter. That wrist injury got him off to a slow start, but he's locked in now in the second half, just when the Dodgers need him.
We got it.
It's an early start on the West Coast, around 5:30. We mentioned that the Dodgers led the majors in attendance, almost 47,000 a game. As you see, there are a few empty seats in the upper deck and in the pavilion, but everything's relative. On a beautiful night, still a pretty good crowd, but not a sellout. Turner thought he had the walk, but the plate umpire, Adrian Johnson, thought the pitch had the corner.
So early on, there's been a few Dodger guys thinking that they're correct in their assessment on pitches just off the plate, and that one brings the count full, and runner will be going.
Close to a steady diet of sliders to right-handed hitters from Foltynewicz. That time the four-seam fastball was high and away.
So here's what's different with postseason baseball, which makes it so intriguing and frustrating at the same time. In a regular season game, you don't think to the degree that every crowd, every person here in the crowd knows a runner-on's a rally, 2 outs, a lot of things can happen, and you wouldn't think twice about this in a regular season. 2-out hit batsman, no big deal. Now it looks like a rally in the tension, and feels like with this lineup they can one swing you to death with power.
Strange beginning for Foltynewicz. He's walked 3, he's hit a man, he's struck out 4, and he yielded a leadoff home run.
And see, that's kind of what's interesting about this series for me is that's the teeter-totter effect. He does walk guys, he can strike guys out. It feeds into the offensive game plan that the Dodgers have. Work the count, take their walks, and beat you with power.
Muncy walked his first time. When you consider all the traffic on the bases and that one of the hits was a home run, Foltynewicz is lucky that it's only 1-0.
Yeah, and he's made some changes both in his mechanics to help him and mentally to help him this year as he matures as a pitcher. But you can tell that he's battling with a lot of different things, the touch, the feel, and he's just not throwing enough pitches close enough to get these hitters to swing at it.
Here's a high fly ball, deep right center field. Enciardi back to the wall. Forget it, it's gone. Max Muncy has done it again. It's 4-0 Los Angeles. Dave Roberts' team jumps in front 4-0. Foltynewicz has faced 12 hitters, 2 homers, a double, 3 walks, a hit batter, and 4 strikeouts.
And that's what I was talking about, how quickly this Dodger lineup can strike. 0-2 in the first, homer. 0-2 in the second, 2 outs, nobody on, hit batsman, then a walk, then a big fly.
Almost hit Machado. 1-1.
And that guy right there doesn't miss his pitch. What I said earlier, if he gets the pitch he wants, he does not miss it. He doesn't foul it back. When guys are locked in, they do exactly what they just did.
What flips the switch on a guy like Muncy, who'd been in the minors, who had 5 big league homers to his credit, and now he hits home runs, at least this year, with greater frequency than any hitter in the majors.
You get to the point of humility, you're willing to try anything. You get a different scene in a different place, and Turner Ward and different philosophies. Next thing you know.
What a strange line for Foltynewicz. That is his 5th strikeout. The only out he has recorded that wasn't a K was a flyout by his opposing pitcher, Hyunjin Ryu. All of that is small consolation as he trails 4-0 after 2. Staked to a 4-0 lead. Hyunjin Ryu faces Charlie Culberson, his former teammate, to start the 3rd. Culberson has a true Dodger connection. Hit the division clinching walk-off home run here at Dodger Stadium, last home game of 2016. Had some big moments in the postseason for the Dodgers. Hit .455 in the LCS. Then had a home run in that wild game 2 of the World Series here against the Astros. Dodgers lost the game, but it wasn't Culberson's fault. Foltynewicz is standing on deck, but they might very well hit for him. Bouncing ball foul. Culberson now is back at home, so to speak. He's from Rome, Georgia. And is he ever versatile? Play the outfield for you, 3rd, short, 2nd. He's at shortstop tonight, and perhaps as long as the Braves last in the postseason, because Dansby Swanson has an injured left hand, and he's not on the roster for this series. Here's the 1-2 pitch.
Well, in between innings conversation, don't know exactly what it was like to the starting pitcher, but Mike Foltynewicz, knowing that's not the start he envisioned in game 1 here. Time still for the Braves to muster up some runs, but Ryu looks really comfortable on the mound.
Hit sharply to short. But there's Machado. Guns it across for the first out.
This very well could be you're going to go bat, but maybe not go back out to pitch and waste a pinch hitter in this situation. So,
well, they have a 5-man bench. National League game, that would be standard. And he is a futile hitter. 0.52 lifetime. 41 strikeouts and 58 at-bats. No point flitting around the edges with him. Just pour it down the middle. He's never drawn a walk. He's 3 for 58. Makes contact. Puig chases after it, but no play.
But when you get in games like this, you're going to learn, and you learn from experiences. And you know, the guy that's the most comfortable, that can play this game under normal circumstances or treat it like a more normal, is going to have success. Slower heartbeat. When you get outside of your body and you start thinking and doing things differently, you don't perform to the level you would have hoped to.
3 pitches. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Hey Google, when's the next MLB game?
Tomorrow, the Cleveland Indians will play the Houston Astros at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you, Google.
How'd you do that on your phone?
Well, I did switch from the flip phone to an iPhone. But that was not a bit of ventriloquism. That was recorded a while ago. Here's Acuna. Popped out to start the game. A year ago, he just stormed from A ball through AA to AAA. Hit .322 for the year with 21 home runs. Then he was the MVP of the Arizona Fall League. Came to spring training, hit over 400. The Braves sent him down to the minors for 3 weeks in a bit of service time manipulation, which a team has a right to do. But then when they brought him back to the big leagues, it was pretty obvious he was ready at age 20.
And it's been pretty obvious in the leadoff spot. He's flourished. And he'll, just like every other player, year to year, will have to learn how to adjust to the league adjusting to him. And pitchers are going to, they're looking at every way to try to expose his unique way of hitting and crowding him up and in. But his raw ability and the ball off the bat is a unique sound.
You know, I remember Buck O'Neill, who was a true baseball treasure, and the world got to know him, at least the baseball world, through the Ken Burns baseball series of 20+ years ago. Great star of the Negro Leagues, later a manager, first African-American coach in the major leagues. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. It's inside. And Buck's point was, there were certain hitters you could close your eyes and you knew it was them at the plate.
By the sound, right?
Yeah, by the sound. Now, he never saw Acuna, but he cited Bo Jackson, and he was old enough to have remembered Babe Ruth. There are a few guys like that. The 3-2. Remember Jack Clark, Giants, Cardinals, briefly with the Yankees?
Oh, yeah. Faced him.
It just sounded different, didn't it?
He had a, I know firsthand what kind of bat he had, too, because he swung and missed, and the bat came out to the mound, and I mistimed my jump, and it hit both my shins and hurt.
Acuna strikes out to end the third, and it's the third strikeout for Hyun-Jin Ryu, who leads it 4-0. Puig and Peterson celebrate. Correct. They let him hit, and then they took him out. Here comes Sean Newcomb.
Sean Newcomb also having a breakthrough year for himself. Every time I see Sean Newcomb, I think of a potential John Lester. Body frame, big left-hander. And when he starts controlling the baseball and the strike zone, he's going to be awfully tough. And that's the only thing really that gets him a little bit in trouble, is he loses the strike zone from time to time. So now he's going to flip around the lineup for the Dodgers, and the heavy left-handed lineup that they have. But the difference is the Dodgers have a 4-run lead.
But you can ask the Dodgers about how effective Newcomb can be. And he starts by fanning Grandal. He came 1 strike away from a no-hitter against the Dodgers on July 29th in Atlanta. Chris Taylor broke it up with a single on a 2-2 count with 2 out in the 9th. Newcomb has usually been used as a starter. Here he might as well be. He comes on in the 3rd and begins by striking out Grandal. For Foltynewicz, a line he will not want to look at in tomorrow's box score. We'll give it to you in a moment. A sky-high pop back of the plate from Bellinger, and Flowers has a play on it.
But I think it's a line he's going to learn from, and I think what Snitker decided is that they're going to bring him back earlier and not force the issue down 4-0. He feels good about Newcomb finishing some innings, and don't be surprised if Foltynewicz comes back as early as game 4, or possibly be able to pitch out of game 3. So, you know, a lot to be determined, and certainly a lot of innings to try to fight your way back into the game.
Here's Tom to weigh in.
Well, it's certainly curious to give up an out, as Brian Snitker did, down 4 runs by having Foltynewicz hit. But it may point out the difference in depth on the roster, guys. From the right side, his options on the bench pretty limited. 2 backup catchers know more for their defense than offense, Rene Rivera and Kurt Suzuki. And outfielder Lane Adams, who is more of a pinch running specialist. So I think that was the difference there. The Dodgers a much deeper, better bench.
So Foltynewicz lasts 2 innings, throws exactly 50 pitches, 3 hits, 1 of them a Peterson home run, and another from Max Muncy. That one's rolled foul. 4 runs, 3 walks, a hit batter, 5 strikeouts.
Yeah, strange game for Folty coming in, because he was on fire and pitching great baseball for the Atlanta Braves.
High fastball got him. Newcomb comes in, sets the Dodgers down in order, strikes out 2, and perhaps restores some order for the Braves, but they still trail it 4-0. Welcome back to the Doosan NLDS on MLB Network. We go to the 4th with the Braves down by 4. Camargo, Freeman, and Markakis to face Ryu. Camargo flied to left his first time up, and a called strike.
You know, he's been amazing all year for the Braves. Doesn't matter right-handed or left-handed on the mound. Pretty consistent. He's had a really good second half, and all he's done is filled in nicely. When all the trade rumors were about who the Braves were going to get at third base, this guy has been one of their unsung heroes and most valuable players.
0-2. Tomorrow in game 2, Anibal Sanchez, the right-hander, will go for the Braves, and Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. More on that in a moment. They're not shifting on Camargo, more shading. Hernandez near the bag at second. Count evens.
For a young player, that's just good balance at the plate. Those are 2 really good pitches that if you want to make something happen offensively, and you see the percentages, he didn't overstride or overswing and expand the zone now on a 2-2 count.
A chopper. Hernandez to his left. Throws him out. And between innings, Dave Roberts talked with Tom Verducci.
Dave Roberts, you might have surprised some people with your starting pitcher choice tonight. How does Hyun-Jung Ryu look for you right now?
He looks good. You know, he's a big game pitcher. He's got good feel. He can strike the secondary when he needs to. He's got good feel of the fastball, glove side, arm side. The change is good tonight. So we like our chance tonight, and obviously a big homer by Muntz.
Well, you talked before the game, the key being get Foltynewicz in the strike zone. How about the quality of the bats?
It's been great from the first pitch, and Jock worked in the bat, got a pitch a little bit above the zone, put a good swing on it. But after that, I mean, you see the JT at bat, even Machado all throughout the lineup. The Muncy walk right there stressed him a little bit, and fortunately we got to him, and now we got to their pen.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Dave and Tom. Okay, goes without saying that Clayton Kershaw could very well be the best pitcher of his generation. 3 Cy Young awards. He's led the league in ERA 5 times, in strikeouts 3 times with a high of 301. Even though victories are downplayed these days in the era of sabermetrics, he's led the league in wins 3 times, including going 21-3 in 2014 with an ERA of 1.77. So Clayton Kershaw, if he never throws another pitch, is on his way to Cooperstown. But the only grade on his Hall of Fame report card that isn't an A or an A+ is his postseason record of 7-7 and an ERA in October of close to 4.5.
Yeah, there's been some strange games, and some teams have had his number in a couple situations. But I can tell you this, even though he's not the same pitcher and he's had some workload reduction because of some injuries the last 3 years, he still has the mind of a bulldog and a competitor that you know would want game 1. And certainly there had to be some twisting of the arm a little bit when they had that conversation, you would think. But what a presence on the mound, and what a competitor that the Dodgers have with their staff. As good as anybody's in the National League, by the way. When they prove it statistically, they're the best in the National League. So when you could throw out Buehler behind Kershaw, and you've got Ryu now doing what he's doing, and Alex Wood and Rich Hill, by the way. It's a pretty good complement of starters, and why they were 1 game away from winning the World Series last year.
Freeman fights it off and trickles it foul. Kershaw, of course, is the ultimate pro. He's a team guy. He was asked before the game how he felt about the decision to be bypassed for game 1. He'll still go on 5 days rest tomorrow and could conceivably pitch a game 5 if there is one. And he put it diplomatically. He said, I didn't agree with it, but I accept it. Punch to the left side. And that doesn't defeat the shift. Instead, it's the 2nd out.
Well, Ryu forgot how many outs there was, so he was walking off the field. He really is in command of his body right now. That was the only hiccup where he's been going so good. He thought, okay, that's it. Why doesn't everybody follow me? Where are you guys coming? Why are you coming with me? And then somebody yelled at him and let him know that's only 2 outs.
So he's got to get Markakis or somebody else before he takes that stroll back to the dugout. Nick grounded to second his first time up. The season began in auspicious fashion for him. A walk-off game-winning home run in the season opener, and he took it from there. Revitalized at age 34.
It's the terminology when you hear professional hitter. I know we don't talk about professional hitters these days because there's less of them, more home run hitters, but he's exactly that. And everybody was super happy for him when he made the All-Star team for the first time, and now he's in the postseason again. Been a great career, but it's not over.
In a sense, just beginning new life. He hangs in. Now, you were talking about Kershaw. A few years back, the Cardinals had his number in October.
Right.
Beat him 4 times. Then in 2016, he lost game 6 at Wrigley Field. The Dodgers went home and the Cubs went on to the World Series. Last year, he actually did pretty well in the postseason. Had 3 victories. And we'll fill out the rest of the story when we come back. Markakis fans, it's a 1-2-3 inning for Ryu, who has faced only one over the minimum through 4 innings of work and leads by 4 runs. As a proud sponsor of Major League Baseball, Evan Williams is giving you a chance to win an all-expenses-paid trip to the 2018 World Series. Go to evanwilliams.com/World Series sweepstakes to learn more. Kike Hernandez against Sean Newcomb in the bottom of the 4th. Newcomb this year was 12-9, ERA just under 4, 31 appearances, 30 of them starts. So this is a rare call to the bullpen for Sean Newcomb. And here's a high fly ball to deep left field. This one's back near the wall, and it'll be taken there by Acuna.
Number 99,
So Hernandez with a home run bid took it to the track, but he becomes out number 1 in the 4th. Ryu flied to shallow center in his only at bat. Just to finish up on what we were talking about concerning Kershaw. Last year he was actually 3-0 in the postseason. Won a game in the Division Series, the LCS, and the World Series. Brilliant in game 1 here in the World Series against the Astros, but then couldn't hold leads of 4-0 and 7-4 in game 5. That epic game 5 that was won by the Astros 13-12 in extra innings in Houston. To show how gritty he is, he came back on 2 days rest and threw 4 shutout innings in relief in game 7. But by that time, Yu Darvish had put the Dodgers in such a deep hole with a disastrous start that they couldn't come back. So it wasn't as if he pitched poorly, except for that one game in Houston. But generally speaking, the fates have not been kind to him in the postseason, especially compared to the rest of his career, where his resume is flawless. A base hit for Ryu, proving your earlier point. And just in case Markakis had thoughts about throwing him out at first as Kershaw cheers him on, Ryu ran past the bag.
Well, he definitely can handle the bat. This may not look the prettiest swing, but he got it done and had a little sweat going down to first, thinking he might get thrown out. He opens up his front side. Looks like he bails a little, but connects perfectly. And as you said, Markakis had thoughts. Okay, maybe I can get him out at first, and a little giddy up at the end. I've been thrown out from right field. That's not a good feeling.
Have you really?
Yeah, twice.
Who did it?
Glenn Wilson was one I can remember in right field in Houston. He had a cannon anyways.
Oh no.
Did you take it for granted, or it was just so sharply hitting right at him?
I smoked it. No, it was an easy throw out too, because AstroTurf.
But that's galling. I mean, you were a good hitting pitcher, but still, you value every hit. You think you got one, and you're thrown out 9-1 or 9-3 rather. Here's the 1-0 to Peterson, who has homered and been hit by a pitch. So the Dodgers lead 4-0. Clayton Kershaw gets the ball tomorrow. Then for game 3 in Atlanta, the rookie Walker Buehler, who has been terrific all season and was especially brilliant in the tiebreaker game against the Rockies on Monday. There he is.
Well, StatCast AI powered by AWS is going to give you what you need to know about Jock Peterson's 0-2 fastball that he led off the game in great fashion for the Dodgers. You see the exit velocity, you see the launch angle, and just over the glove. And a great start for the Dodgers, and then of course they haven't looked back since. 4-0 lead.
got a tiny piece of it.
Well, he's a much different hitter as Jock Peterson against left-handers with almost that front side.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, don't.
How good are the guys in the truck?
Oh, my gosh. That's Merced, so that's the second one.
Orlando Merced.
You could.
Oh, you were digging.
Never a good feeling.
You were busted it, though.
Oh, I know.
Popped wide of first. Does Freeman have room? Yep. Nice play.
Third baseman, Justin Turner.
Nice play by Freeman, of course. Once you go in that territory, you never know what you're going to receive. Jock was hoping his hometown crowd would help him out a little bit there.
Too polite. Here's Turner. He's doubled and walked. Sean Newcomb on the mound. There's another Newcomb in the ballpark. The great Don Newcomb, teammate of Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, Pee Wee Reese, Duke Snider on those boys of summer teams of the Brooklyn Dodgers. The winner of the first Cy Young Award in the mid-1950s. In his 90s now. There he is. His wife Karen. Always dapper.
Rob Lowe's next to him, I believe.
Yep, that is Rob Lowe. Back to Newcomb. Sean Newcomb in this case. And that's that for the Dodgers in the bottom of the fourth. The National League Division Series is presented by Doosan, official partner of Major League Baseball. This MLB Network telecast is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you might save.
Well, an unfazed Ryu in rhythm. And about this time of the game is when he's done his best pitching this year. 4th through the 6th inning, he's got a 0.75 ERA. So I would think the Dodgers this year and Dave Roberts are going to approach the postseason a little bit differently than they did last year, where they heavily used their bullpens. You may see them rely on their starters a little deeper.
Well, of course, last year they had Brandon Morrow, who, except for one disastrous outing in Game 5, that aforementioned Game 5 in Houston, was all but untouchable, and that set up Kenley Jansen, who is still nominally their closer, but has not been nearly as effective this year as he was last. So they don't have either the bridge or the lockdown closer that they had a year ago.
Yeah, and I still maintain the formula of baseball is a little flawed, and teams are getting away with it with a heavy use of their bullpens, but it has a long-term effect. And what I mean by that long-term effect, you play the game analytically for perfect scenarios to work out, and when they don't work out, it comes back to bite you because you've exposed them way too often. And so the teams that usually have the best rotation of starters innings-wise usually go on to win the World Series.
Called strike 3 for Ryu. It's strikeout number 5. He hasn't walked anybody, and he's allowed only one hit, a 2-out single in the first to Freddie Freeman.
Well, he just looks like he's playing catch with the catcher. He's not over-exerting. Certainly making pitches when he has to.
So here's Ozzie Albies, all 5'8" and 165 pounds of him.
Swings a much heavier bat from the left side, trying to drop the barrel, and that was home run surge in the first half, 20 of them. And a little bit of a drought, and really a little bit of the pitchers kind of catching up and making some adjustments to the young star for the Atlanta Braves. But from the right side, a lot more comfortable average wise.
Sounded like a broken bat. It's Machado with a quick flip, and he gets him.
Can I just tell you that Manny Machado
is good,
is one of the best shortstops and one of the best arms, always on time, always a first baseman's dream. Rarely do you see him throw a ball in a place where it's not perfect for the first baseman to catch. It's going to be interesting to see this offseason what happens to a big-time free agent in Manny Machado.
Inciardi flied out his first time up. Well, the free agent market has changed. Teams are less likely to give lucrative long-term deals to players 30 or older. But guys like Bryce Harper and Manny Machado have reached free agency eligibility while still in their mid-20s. So the market bends toward them.
It does. But it limits the teams that can possibly afford them.
Oh, they won't come cheap. Ryu is ahead 0-2. Hit back up the middle and past the dive of Hernandez for the second hit of the night for Atlanta.
Number 16, Charlie Culberson.
And one of the rare mistakes for Ryu there with 2 strikes. Just to tell you where the Braves are going and the youth that they have, as we see that 4-seamer up in the zone, back up the middle. Culberson has more playoff games than the entire Atlanta Braves team, and that came with the Dodgers. So all that's taken place here for Atlanta and all the opportunities for the future, they're in a good place, to say the least.
Way ahead of schedule. But when you look at their division, you still have to shake your head. The Phillies faded at the end of the year, but they're putting together a good young team, and they have payroll flexibility and an apparent willingness to go out and add to their roster. The Mets had a better second half than first. They could scarcely have had as bad a second half as first, but they show some promise. And the team that just has you shaking your head constantly is the Nats.
Strange year when it came to the East.
One and 2 to Culberson.
And this is where Ryu is real tough. 2 strikes on opposing hitters. How about a 123 average against? That's why that 0-2 hit was so rare up the middle.
Again up the middle, and again it's through. So the Braves finally make some noise here in the 5th.
Almost the identical spin to the baseball, getting between the 2 infielders for the Dodgers. So a little 2-out magic here in the
Pinch hitter,
one of probably 3 more pinch hitters if the Braves are going to get back in this game. You see the spin right up over the bag.
So they're going to send up Kurt Suzuki, who is one of their catchers and who has occasional pop. He had a dozen home runs this year. See if it can come through on his birthday. He's 35 today. Rick Honeycutt, longtime pitching coach, heads for the mound.
Along with a translator to get the information.
Gives us a chance for a mound visit break. It'll take 15 seconds. Here it is.
YouTube TV, cable-free live TV is here. Try it free.
Always wondered if umpires understand that maybe a little extended time is given to information that doesn't go directly from one person to the next. So it looks like that's the grace period. Obviously all geared towards trying to speed up the game.
But common sense has to prevail.
Yeah.
And as long as it doesn't take an eternity, that seems to make sense. So the Braves with a pair of 2-out singles from Inciardi and Culberson. Now send Suzuki to the plate in a situation where one swing could get them right back in it. On the first one, a little bloop in a shallow right. Here comes Puig, and he's got it. The Braves lead 2, and after 4.5, it's still 4-0 Dodgers. Stopped into a church. Sean Newcomb did well when he was in there. 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, struck out a couple. Now it's Max Fried, 24-year-old left-hander, out of the bullpen to face Max Muncy.
Velocity's not going to be the strength of Max Fried, but he has the ability to change speeds. You saw the curveball, good changeup. Crafty left-hander that knows how to pitch and doesn't rear back and just try to throw it through a brick wall.
Fried had 5 separate stints with the big club this season, up and down. He pitched at Harvard Westlake High School, which is about 15 miles west of Dodger Stadium. Their rotation included Fried, Lucas Giolito, and Jack Flaherty, and all 3 of them were first-round picks right out of high school. That must have been some high school team.
It's rare.
Was the second best pitcher on your high school team a big league prospect?
No.
No. What's he doing today? Have you stayed in touch?
No.
No. Okay.
We didn't really have many pitchers.
You pitched every game. It's a lot of wear and tear. Muncy has walked and homered. The homer was a 3-run shot that made it 4-0. And he draws a walk to start the 5th.
Well, StatCast AI, powered by AWS, another homer. This is what the theme of the Dodgers, this is what they can do. 2 outs, nobody on. It turned into a 3-run homer and a majestic fly ball in the evening. And that is what made Max Muncy a dangerous hitter this year. And by the way, about 51% of the time, he either hits a homer, walks, or strikes out.
The so-called 3 true outcomes. But when he makes contact, as you saw from that graphic, he hits it hard. And hit that one a while back, deep into the pavilion in right center. Machado has struck out twice.
Just to give you some context, the average for Major League Baseball players in the 3 true outcomes, 33%. So it happens a lot more than we've ever seen before.
An all-time high. And my guess is, unless something changes drastically, they'll top it again next year. Two balls and a strike. Foltynewicz certainly didn't have the best outing of his career, but he had Machado's number, got him looking twice. Now Machado takes a look at Fried. Muncy with a short lead at first. Here's a shot to short, could be 2. There's 1, And there's 2.
Well, as each guy from the bullpen comes in and for the Braves, and you know that's what's the formula for tonight. They're going to get their feet wet in what really has been an inexperienced bullpen for the young one. Only a couple guys have postseason experience. Johnny Venters and Brock, who came over from the Orioles. So it's all, even though the score is 4-0, these are valuable opportunities for these guys to check in.
Max Fried on the mound right now at 24 years old. Made 14 big league appearances this season, 5 of them starts. His record was just 1-4, but his ERA was under 3, and he struck out almost 12 for every 9 innings of work. Out of play.
But what I like about him is it looks like he has the sense of pitchability. Like it's not just going to be all velocity. You saw the breaking balls that have tremendous depth to them. And that bodes well in the future if you can stay away from always trying to throw everything max effort.
One on one to Grandal, who struck out twice.
That's just a great combination of fastball, curveball. When you got hitters today trying to launch, the 2 pitches that come in that have the greatest effect are the fastball up and the curveball. If you have a low fastball or sinking fastball, you want a slider on that plane to be able to take pressure off of that. But a high fastball curveball combination now plays.
Fried sets and delivers 2-2 and gets him looking. Atlanta bullpen, first Newcomb and then Fried has done a good job, but they trail it 4-0. Every time you tweet using hashtag #HomeRunForHomeRun this postseason, T-Mobile will donate another $1 to veterans through Rubicon Volunteers, rebuilding communities hit by hurricanes. Somehow, I think that whoever wrote this promo did not check it for typos.
Well, for the Braves right now, this is the most important inning, to state a Captain Obvious statement. They have the lineup where they want it. Being able to get some runners on and create some pressure and cause some options for Dave Roberts.
2-1 to Acuna, who has popped out and struck out. This is supposedly the moment of concern for any manager or pitching coach. The 3rd time through the lineup.
Yeah, and I think too much. We make way too much of that. You're not preparing guys to do it, so you wouldn't expect their numbers to be real good. But you got to let your eyes be the gauge here. No stress on any part of the game so far for Ryu. Total command. And what he thought was a walk-off pitch strikeout. And you can see why.
A chopper, Machado can't handle it. A rarity. An error to start the 6th.
Well, believe it or not, as deep as Machado was, Acuna has tremendous speed, and this was going to be super close. I know he's got a cannon. We already talked about it. But when you watch how deep he's playing, and the ball didn't exactly get to him in record time, Acuna can flat out fly. And of course, it hits the heel as he's going to do that patented throw. But watch him get out of the box. I mean, he's putting it down and getting there quick.
Yeah, it might have been close, but it is ruled E6. So now Camargo, who's 0 for 2. There's a strike. Ryan Madsen has been throwing in the Dodger bullpen. Veteran right-hander.
And see, the point I would make about all this different time of bullpenning and changing guys, especially when it gets to the third time through. Don't think for an instant that the Braves lineup wouldn't love to see another pitcher. That's not to mean that the other pitcher's not going to do his job, but the fact that you're not having good swings against somebody and they take you out because of numbers in that particular game, you're doing them a huge favor. And maybe the guy coming in isn't as locked in.
Pitch number 81 on the night for Ryu, misses, making it 2-1. Freddie Freeman is on deck. And then Nick Markakis. As we get deeper into October, in some of the cities, in Denver, maybe at Yankee Stadium, Cleveland, Boston, might need a sweater, an overcoat, and then some. But not here. Runner goes. Here's the throw, and they've got him. Acuna, who stole 16 and was thrown out 5 times during the regular season.
Well, that's the right play. Try to get something going if you're the Braves offense. Guy handles the ball, handles the bat at the plate pretty good in Camargo, and he just couldn't put it in play, and an easy throw out. With the left-hander on the mound, you're not going to get a huge jump. He's quick to the plate.
They got him that time and got him by plenty. Freeman has a single and he's grounded out. Skies one to left. It sends Peterson back shy of the track, and that's that. So the error by Machado doesn't hurt Ryu and the Dodgers. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Still 4-0 home team. Tomorrow the playoff action starts at 2 Eastern with ALDS Game 1, Indians Astros on TBS. Then at 4 it's Game 2 of the Rockies Brewers series on FS1. At 7:30 Eastern, Game 1 of the Yankees Red Sox from Fenway on TBS. And then you round out your night on FS1 back here at Dodger Stadium, Braves Dodgers Game 2 at 9:30 Eastern time. Cody Bellinger with a vicious cut and a miss as we move to the bottom of the 6th. These teams have a playoff history. In 2013, the Dodgers beat the Braves 3-1 in the division series. In 1996, the Braves swept the division series from the Dodgers, and you won Game 2 with an outstanding pitching performance. And if you want to go further back, might have popped a few more buttons on his jersey with that one. Back in 1959, when the Dodgers were new to Los Angeles and the Braves were in Milwaukee, and it was just win the pennant and go to the World Series, no divisions, they tied for first place. And the playoff then was best 2 out of 3. The Dodgers won the first 2 games, and that was it. They went on to the World Series where they beat the White Sox. A drive to center. But Inciardi is under it. Of course, there was also a time when the Braves and the Dodgers were in the same division, when they were both in the National League West, which may partly explain why so many Americans have difficulty with geography.
Yeah, that was a lot of trips to the West Coast in those days. Of course,
it's going to be a pitching change as Yasiel Puig comes to the plate, and we'll be right back.
Now pitching for Atlanta, number 46, Brad Brock.
Now, for Brian Snitker and the Braves, it's Brad Brock, 32-year-old right-hander. Sean Newcomb and Max Fried both did good jobs out of the bullpen. All 4 runs were scored off Fultonevich in the first couple of innings. Dodgers still lead it 4-0. Here's Puig. Gets under one, drives it to left, and it's not got the carry that it needs. Just shy of the track. It's Acuna with the catch.
well, it's an interesting move because we talked with Dave Roberts and asked him about, can you believe the splits for Puig this year against lefties and righties? He goes, yeah, I can't explain it. And it's hard for even other managers to leave a left-hander or bring a left-hander to face him because the splits are so different. And there you saw Brock come in and face Puig, even though the numbers say otherwise. So it's one of those years, and it looked like a good swing, and he knew right away that he just missed it. But much more comfortable against right-handers is Puig that he's shown on the year than left-handers.
Kike Hernandez has struck out and fly to deep left.
And as I look at Ryu on the on-deck circle, it's just such a difference between year to year. Last year, there's no chance Ryu stays in the game that long. The bullpen had a formula. Dave Roberts went to it often. But this year, the option's going to have to be that much better to take out a pitcher who's doing well. And they've done a nice job throughout the year in their depth, creating the opportunity to save innings for Kershaw and Alex Wood and Rich Hill. And Ryu's injury that you mentioned has been relatively fresh and on point tonight.
Here's a shot toward the gap in left center field, and it turns the outfielders into spectators. It's the 3rd home run of the night for the Dodgers. Kike Hernandez puts a charge into one and puts the Dodgers up 5-0. And now Ryu, with even more breathing room, will in fact bat for the 3rd time. He had a single his last time up. Takes a strike.
Well, Kike Hernandez is amazing. This is a changeup, inner half, and he smokes it. That's the 18th home run with nobody on. So his approach with nobody on, much different than when people are on. And I even asked Dave Roberts if you had somebody other than Turner and you needed contact to drive in a run with runner on 3rd and less than 2 outs. He thought about it. He said Kike Hernandez would be his guy.
Bounce back to the mound. The comebacker ends the 6th. The question for Atlanta, can they come back from a 5-run deficit? They have 9 outs remaining to them. Welcome back to the Doosan NLDS telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. Perfect night at Dodger Stadium weather-wise, and a perfect night for the home team as they get this division series underway. They lead it 5-0. 5 runs on 5 hits. The Braves have been limited to 3 hits, all of them singles. Let's bring in Tom.
Now you notice the curveball on the first pitch there. The Braves are the most aggressive hitting team in baseball, especially jumping on first pitches. What Ryu has done tonight is taken away their greatest strength.
Hit hard, but it's at Hernandez. He doesn't take it on the fly. He short hops it, so he has to throw it to first to retire Markakis.
That's a much better play than it looked. Looked like his feet kind of went out from him, and he gets that ball on a short hop, but that ball kind of got to him in a weird way. Watch his feet. See, it just kind of slips, and then he goes and makes the short hop.
Let's go back to Tom.
So what he's done, Bob, is he's thrown only 4 fastballs for strikes the entire night on first pitches. It's been a boatload of cutters, curves, and changeups.
Here's Tyler
Change
Flowers
up right there.
Yep.
And Bob, what he's done is he's put a very aggressive offensive team on the defensive. Now listen, it's a great game plan. It's been better execution because he's been able to throw those secondary pitches for strikes.
And he struck out Flowers twice, swinging in the second, looking in the fifth.
Well, it's part of the theme coming into this series. Some of the strengths of the Braves are the strengths on the opposite side of the Dodgers and vice versa. And right now the Dodgers have had the upper hand in every area game planning against this Brave offense.
It's not like you pitched before electricity, but did you have all of the information available to you that pitchers have today to formulate this kind of game plan, or did you just go with your gut or what your memory told you about how you worked those hitters in the past?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, you know, you faced everybody a lot more back then, and so you had a lot more familiarity with the hitter, and then you could watch your video and you didn't have overkill information, which is a ton of information today, and then you game plan off of it. I used to love the cat and mouse game of just facing a team, let's say 5 times, and then facing them again in the postseason. But what Ryu is doing is absolutely perfect to the game plan of the information he was given, to Tom's point.
That one floats in there but misses the outside corner. 2-2. For the 3rd time, he strikes Flowers out.
So to simplify it even more, when you have a team that is in the postseason and maybe a little inexperienced and aggressive, as a pitcher you can feast off their aggressiveness. So you just try to see how the game's going and who's going to expand the zone, and you expand it then with your complement of pitches, which he's done, changing speeds with the changeups, changing eye levels with the curveball, and then of course pitching in and out with the cutter and the fastball.
7 strikeouts for Ryu, and he hasn't walked anybody. Ozzie Albies has twice grounded to short. Ryu has a full repertoire. The fastball, the cutter, the curve, the slider, a changeup with tremendous differentiation between that and his fastball. Among the biggest in baseball in that respect. Now on a given night he won't use the entire repertoire. It depends upon who he's facing, what he has command of, but he has all those arrows in his quiver.
But the biggest thing about him, what I like, is comfortable in his mechanics. Like, it just literally looks like he's playing catch. Nothing's rushed. His front side's not getting way down the hill, and he's able to make all those touch pitches early in the count. Because if you're tense or anxious or overthrowing or overstriding, you're not going to make those pitches, and you're actually going to give the opposing team more opportunities to hit mistakes. So doesn't seem phased at all, and it shows why the last 3 weeks he's been on top of his game and hasn't given up many runs at all.
His 1-2 pitch to Ozzie Albies is a base hit. The right side was wide open, and Albies put it right there.
And that was big for Albies. He's been struggling a little bit in the second half. Right-handed hitter, we talked about how much more comfortable average-wise he is than he has been from the left side. But checking in, getting a hit, making that feel good. Even though you're down 5-0. It's the first team to 3 wins.
Four hits for the Braves, all of them singles. The Dodgers have 5 runs on 5 hits. 3 of those 5 hits are homers. Turner had a double. The only single belongs to the guy on the mound, Ryu.
Yeah, and we talked about it in the onset about the power of the Dodgers, but the patience and drawing walks and doing the little things so that when the power does come up with runners on, it hurts a lot more. And that 3-run homer by Max Muncy, 2 outs, nobody on when he got to that position.
Whatever Inciarte was looking for, it wasn't that. Look at the curveball drop in there at 73. Sandy Koufax looking on approvingly. And a little roller foul. This wasn't the way Sandy did it. Basically, Sandy just threw that rising fastball and that 12-6 curveball, and it was good enough.
Yeah. It just goes to show you how it would still be good enough today.
With that kind of stuff. Ryu has struck out 7. Here's his 0-2 pitch, but first a little toss to first base. And Albies was barely off the bag. Ozzie stole 14 in 17 tries, but this is not a stolen base situation. Down by 5.
I just realize how long I've been around now.
Yeah.
To know that when I see the look on people's faces when it gets to 100 pitches, as if, oh my gosh, 100 pitches. But that's the era we're in. And this will be the last batter he has, more than likely, even though he's been dominant the whole game.
How about this? Oh my gosh, the man we just looked at is 82 years old. Looks pretty darn good. Didn't miss by much. 1 and 2.
And when he misses, it has been close. There's been a lot of pressure on the lineup for the Braves with 2 strikes because he can pitch to both sides of the plate. Off of that, I think some kind of breaking ball here.
Fastball, but off the outside corner. Well, they had Ryan Madsen throwing earlier. Then the left-hander Scott Alexander. So this is his last inning as he's inched past 100 pitches. But he has been brilliant. And what a perfect way to end it. His 8th strikeout. He strides off the mound with a 5-0 lead after 7 innings of terrific work. And Sandy Koufax joins in the applause. StatCast AI, powered by AWS. See more of MLB's revolutionary tracking technology at MLB.com/StatCast. Top of the order in the bottom of the 7th. Peterson, who set a tone early with a home run leading off the bottom of the 1st, then was hit by a pitch and fouled out.
Yeah, you could say he's responsible for all the runs in the first four of them anyways. With 2 strikes in the 1st, he hit that homer, and then with 2 strikes, he got hit by a pitch, which led to a walk, which led to a 3-run homer, both on an 0-2 count.
The 3-run shot came from Max Muncy Later, Kike Hernandez added a solo blast. 3 home runs. 5-0 Dodgers. Brad Brock is still on the mound for the Braves. In 27 appearances after being acquired by Atlanta, his ERA was 1.5. Something bothering Peterson. He asked for timeout at the last moment.
That's the difference right now for me. When he broke into the league, of course, he had that unbelievable start to Peterson, home runs, made the All-Star team, and then went into what most, as I talked about, pitchers' adjustments, and he really had a hard time making contact. Last year's postseason went a long way for him in the adjustments he's been making. And now, even though the batting averages are not high or super high, his power remains. And it all started really with Dave Roberts encouraging him to play the game pepper. Just a simple game of pepper, and he could not do it for the longest time, hitting missiles, teaching him bat control, teaching him to keep the bat in the zone a little longer.
Well, that's not the kind of swing you take when you're playing pepper. Pepper's an old school deal, and Peterson didn't quite know what Roberts was talking about, and he's lucky he didn't hurt somebody.
Well, this is a real good pitch. 3-2 ties him up. Peterson vulnerable to that pitch, but if you make a mistake over the middle, it doesn't matter because he's going to deposit it a long way.
They just announced the attendance tonight, just shy of 51,000, 50,947. Capacity at Dodger Stadium is 56,000, so not a sellout, but a very large crowd. Turner has doubled, walked, and was out on a comebacker.
Whenever you come on the road, it's the same old thing. I mean, you want to win as many games as you can, but when you come on the road, and certainly you're an underdog, as the Braves by most would think are in this series, you try to win one game. You try to split that series, and they're going to, if this game doesn't change, they're going to face, I'm sure most of them thought they were going to face Kershaw today. Well, they're going to face him tomorrow.
Yeah, and it'll be up to Anibal Sanchez to try and even the series. And then the Dodgers will have Walker Buehler ready for Game 3 in Atlanta. Turner heads for first, and we head back to Tom.
Mike's, well, last year at the end of spring training, Max Muncy was released by the Oakland A's. That, he said, was a wake-up call, and he changed his swing then. You're seeing the results tonight. Watch on the left from 2016. Very upright stance, very little movement in the lower half. He changed the stroke to get more athletic position to begin with. And look at the extension now. Before, a two-hand finish because he wasn't getting through the ball. Now the one-hand finish because he has premium extension. It's a much more dynamic setup, a much more athletic swing. That is designed to get the ball in the air and do damage. You can see right there, it's exactly what he's done.
Well, to add to it, his plate discipline has been unbelievable, and that's a credit to him, taking the pitches that the pitcher wants him to swing at, taking his walks, and then not missing the pitches with the new adjustment that he has basically been locked in.
Well, that's a great point, and that's why that swing and that approach I compare to Jason Giambi. Very similar.
2-0. Turner at first after his one-out walk.
I mean, some guys walk up to the plate with the idea, I will not swing at a high pitch. I will not swing at a high pitch. And they get in the box and all of a sudden get outside of their discipline and swing at a high pitch. He looks just on those two pitches right there. He's going to wait for the pitcher to come to him, and he's not going to extend himself and create any advantage to the pitcher.
Well, this is going to be the 17th pitch he's seen tonight. He has swung just twice. One foul ball and a big 3-run homer.
Runner goes. He can slow up. A 4-pitch walk. Muncy has given the fielders no work at all. 3 walks and a home run tonight. Now Manny Machado, who has had better nights for sure. He struck out twice and hit into a 6-4-3 double play.
He doesn't like 2 of the calls, so.
Plus, he had an error charged to him at shortstop. Despite all that, his team leads 5-0.
Facing his former teammate.
And trying to take him deep with that swing.
Brock actually has, the way that he throws his changeup, way better effect on left-handers, but that changeup that he threw to Kike Hernandez stayed over the middle part of the plate. He'll try to sweep a slider and try to bury the fastball in against right-handers.
When Brock was with the Orioles this year, in 42 appearances, his ERA was nearly 5. In 27 appearances with Atlanta, ERA 1.5. But just about nothing went right for any member of the Orioles this year, and one of the game's best and most respected managers, Buck Showalter, is out after a season in which his team went 47-115. Buck told me a couple of years ago that no matter how the next few seasons went, this was his last stop, this meaning Baltimore. But I'd hate to see this be the last managerial season for Buck Showalter.
Yeah, I thought he did an unbelievable job in Baltimore with the resources and what they had to offer him and provide in a beast of the East division.
Ripped foul. That's why you got to be alert when you're watching a ball game.
Looks like everybody did okay.
Although their pulse is racing just a little bit, you'd have to guess.
He's so quick inside. The only thing he could have done with this ball, perfectly placed, is hit it foul.
Another foul ball, also out of play. Yeah, so you hope this isn't the final act for Buck Showalter. He's been too good a baseball man for too long. Deserves a better send-off than this one. There's a fan who remembers Machado as a member of the O's.
Well, you think about Baltimore's affected both these teams, both Atlanta and the Dodgers, benefiting from the team not going in that direction and trading off a lot of its parts.
Did he check? Yes, he did. Well, the cleanup man for both teams tonight played for Showalter with the Orioles, Nick Markakis and Manny Machado.
I think the biggest move, though, besides the obvious Machado here in L.A., almost just another star to add, is Gausman coming over and doing a great job for the Atlanta Braves in their rotation. He was having a tough year, as well as everyone we already talked about, but he really picked it up for the Atlanta Braves. Scheduled to start game 3.
Two on, one out. Both reached on walks. Bottom of the 7th, 5-0 Dodgers.
Manny broke his bat on that one. I remember when Manny broke in and hitting a lot of doubles, and people were wondering, yeah, where's the power going to come? And as he grew into his body and obviously matured in the league, the power came. You mentioned he played in a great place for that power. Just a tremendous baseball player, and it'll be very interesting come this offseason.
Think about Camden Yards, the third iteration of Yankee Stadium, obvious home run hitters' havens. Dodger Stadium has never been viewed that way, and yet the Dodgers hit 235 home runs this year, franchise record and second most in baseball behind the Yankees. So they earned them.
They did. I'm not a weather expert, but they always talk about this place, and it all depends on the marine air.
Yeah. Marine layer. Marine layer, right. Beautiful 75-degree early October night. They wheel, they throw late. Once Brock turned around, it was pretty clear that Turner was back to second, so the throw was worthless.
Well, this will be an interesting pitch here. Brock likes to throw that changeup. He got him to swing and miss on one over the middle of the plate. And only threw one breaking ball, as you see the reverse move and throw back. See what he goes to here, 3-2.
The runners go, and they'll have to come back.
Spun a breaking ball. This ball spun, and he gets away with it. If Manny doesn't get too far out in front, as you can tell that he was trying to tell himself to stay back after that. Stay back, not jump out and try to get it.
And Turner skips back, no throw. Flowers with the sign. The runners take off again. A swing and a miss. The throw to third. Safe. Double steal on the strikeout.
Well, there was the changeup, and he executed it perfectly. Looks like a fastball out of his hand over the middle of the plate and drops out. Machado, not one of his better nights. See the depth and then the throw, but a running start by Turner helped this stolen base.
With his team poised to win, it'll make it easier for Machado to swallow 3 strikeouts, hit into a double play, and committed an error. Turner safe at third on the front end of a double steal. Johnny Venters is going to come into the game, left-hander for the Braves. Brock on his way out, and so are we. Yasmani Grandal 0 for 3, all of them strikeouts. Johnny Venters out of the bullpen. Ball 1.
Tremendous sinker and tremendous perseverance. 3 Tommy John surgeries, part of the Braves in the past, and the Kimbrel days when the nasty bullpen that Johnny Venters was part of.
He's murder on lefties, but Grandal is a switch hitter. Cody Bellinger, left-handed batter, would be next, but David Freese is in the on-deck circle in case the inning is extended.
I mean, just think about that. 3 Tommy John surgeries. That's a long time of recovery and a long time of trying to overcome the fear, and he has been resilient.
High fly ball to right. Markakis puts an end to the inning. No runs, no hits, a couple of walks, 2 are left. Through 7, 5-0 Dodgers. After 7 outstanding innings from Hyun-Jin Ryu, here's the rookie Caleb Ferguson. try and put the finishing touches on it, or at least work the eighth. Charlie Culberson faces him and takes a breaking ball for ball one. The math on Ferguson in this, his first big league season. He's 22 years old.
Pretty much straight over the top fastball. Slider's tight, around 88.
Facing Culberson, who's 1 for 2, had a single in the fifth. Braves staring at a likely 1-0 deficit, and Clayton Kershaw tomorrow against Anibal Sanchez. We know how great Kershaw has been, but he's allowed 8 runs and 14 hits in his last 11 innings of work, and this season has been on the DL twice with a back problem and bicep tendonitis. So generally speaking, he doesn't go as deep into games as he used to. At least not this year. Would you still give him the edge over Sanchez? Of course you would, especially here at Dodger Stadium.
And the challenge really for any manager, and in this case Dave Roberts, is to protect the player from himself. In other words, you still got the same motor and engine, but you may not be able to do what you once did and go as deep as you once wanted to. So I think that's where Dave Roberts has been able to explain and show Clayton Kershaw what they can do in a different role.
Plus, if you're going to achieve your objective and win the whole thing, there are going to be a lot more games.
Yeah.
So you want to leave some pitches in that arm.
Absolutely, and I've been down that road. Obviously, as the latter part of your career, you still think you have certain things that are an asset that may not be as much anymore, and when you're shown it.
Here's a shot backhanded on the outfield grass by Machado, who unloads and gets him. Max Muncy held the bag, but what a play by Machado.
This is that cannon, and even though he didn't throw it perfectly to the spot, look how far he is into the grass, turns and throws, and Muncy makes a great short hop.
Pinch hitter number 18, Lane Adams.
It's a great play to get to that ball, but without that kind of arm, you have no chance.
Yeah, you have no chances, right.
Now a pinch hitter for the Braves. Lane Adams will come on.
And that's a great shot from our camera there, and just the mud and the spikes, just a spike that catches that bag.
Picture perfect in every respect. I'm talking to Dave Roberts before the game. Asked him if that stolen base in that terrific wild card game between the Cubs and the Rockies, that stolen base by Terrence Gore in the 8th inning when the Cubs were trying to tie it up, and in fact it did lead to a tie, if that reminded him of his situation in Game 4 of the ALCS in 2004 at Fenway Park, Red Sox Yankees, where everyone in the ballpark knew he was going to go. He went on the first pitch and made it. He said, yeah, I was thinking about that as I watched it. Difference was I was barely safe. They didn't even throw on Gore. And of course the Cubs wound up losing the game, whereas the Red Sox wound up winning and turning the whole thing around from down 0-3, winning the series, and eventually breaking an 86-year curse. All the sweeter because they had to get by the Yankees en route to doing it.
And I'll be honest, when Dave Roberts got here, that was the biggest transition for him personally, as the game has kind of gone away from speed and stolen bases. I personally still think it's a huge mistake, but when you go by the numbers, that's where he's had to adjust as a manager here. And the stolen base is a falling art in our game.
Roberts himself had a 10-year big league career, hit 266 and swiped 243 bases. That's inside, 3-2.
Doing about 40 to 50 games this year, and then of course watching a bunch of baseball. I cannot tell you the last time I saw a pitch out.
Swing and a miss. The pinch hitter Adams fans might have chased one out of the strike zone. Once again, here's the lineup tomorrow at 2 Eastern, ALDS Game 1 between the Indians and Astros. That's on TBS. Then at 4 Eastern, it's the Rockies and Brewers. That's Game 2 of that series. Brewers won the first one in extra innings tonight. That's on FS1. At 7:30, Game 1 of the Yankees and Red Sox. Speaking of that rivalry, renewed on TBS. And then at 9:30 Eastern Time, back here at Dodger Stadium, Braves and Dodgers, Game 2. Ronald Acuna Jr. has popped out, struck out, reached on an error, then was caught stealing. No one throwing at the moment in the Dodger bullpen.
It's the natural place to go against a young Ronald Acuna, and he didn't chase it. Good discipline there. 0-2.
2-2. Kenta Maeda was throwing for a while. As you see, no one is working right now. In a 5-0 game, they would just as soon not use Kenley Jansen.
Well, the Dodgers have played almost a perfect game. They've established themselves here at home. Their pitcher on the mound was on point. The offense created a lot of pressure from Mike Foltynewicz and created the runs that they normally do via the home run. And that's why they're staying here with a 5-0 lead. 2 outs in the 8th.
And Acuna fans. He has an 0-for-4 night. Many on Santa Monica Pier might be listening to the game on their car radios and happy with what's developing so far. Meanwhile, you're watching the Doosan NLDS telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico.
We have lots to talk about on MLB Tonight, presented by Evan Williams Bourbon.
Ryu looked like a #1 starter tonight.
Oh, wasn't it bat by the Moose? He was loose. Bullpenning with the Brewers. It kind of worked. I would have left Josh Hader in a little bit longer. Craig Counsell. Bob, you were there. Thank you, Craigie.
They've increased the roster for the postseason. Instead of 3, they'll go with a quartet for the postgame show. And Brad Snitker will go with Chad Sobotka to work the bottom of the 8th. His 6th pitcher tonight. Cody Bellinger 0-for-2 with a walk.
You want to talk about a good arm and a future bright for this young man in the Braves. 98-mile-an-hour fastball with a power breaking ball that really never really gets put in play hardly at all. It's a lot of swing and misses and a high playing fastball with a power breaking ball.
That power breaking ball is the slider on which hitters, relatively small sample, this is his rookie year, but 0-for-21 with 15 strikeouts when the at-bat is decided on his slider. And he's ahead of Bellinger, 0-2.
That's it. Well, as you go through this development like the Braves are doing, and you find out about guys, you find out about which guys in the mix next year and what role they're going to be. Some of the younger veteran or younger relievers aren't on the roster, had to work so hard for this team, you know, ran out of gas, and currently aren't on the playoff roster.
Bellinger rips it. Freeman comes up with it, takes it to the bag himself for the first out in the bottom of the 8th. Well, when you're about to go down 1-0 to a favorite team in a best-of-5 series, it's tough to find silver linings. But for Snitker and the Braves, at least they've gotten some of their younger players into the game, get their feet wet, get the sense of postseason baseball.
Yeah, that's the positive. The negative is what they're staring at tomorrow. But you know what? Whenever you face a guy who's on top of his game like Ryu, it's not really, you can't think that the guy's going to be that much better tomorrow, even though his name is Clayton Kershaw, and he has the capacity to be able to do that. But all in all, you just got to tip your hat in a series that's a short series. Game 1, always important, but so is each game. And the Braves have had streaky years. They've won 4 in a row, lose 4 in a row. They look bad at some points and then come back with wild comebacks. So this is a scrappy team. And I know a lot of people outside looking in didn't think this was going to be as a competitive series based on what the Dodgers have been through in their roster. But I still maintain this is the kind of team that the Atlanta fans have watched. They've come back a lot.
With the exception of Brad Brock, all the relievers who have followed Fultonevich have been rookies or second-year guys. Guys who needed to get this out of their system. And most have done well. Has to up their confidence level a bit. This is in shallow right, and it's a tough chance, and it drifts into foul territory, and Freeman has no play as it drops untouched.
Well, it's not the 3-0 swing you want as a hitter, but that's exactly what Puig did. Swung 3-0 and swung late and almost got Blooper to fall in front of Freddie and Markakis. 3-0, you're looking to unleash. And right about there, it looks like it's going to drop in. The ball kind of changes directions. One of the toughest plays for a first baseman with his back to home plate trying to make that play.
Sobotka's 3-1 pitch, and he walks Puig. You can live every postseason moment with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. It's the only place to get it all. Live radio feeds, video highlights, pitch tracking, StatCast, and much more. Download at bat today.
So the one thing I was intrigued to watch how this series plays out is the young staff of the Atlanta Braves. They have a capacity to walk too many players and too many batters, and it showed up a little bit tonight. And when you're facing a lineup like the Dodgers, who command the strike zone, take their walks, and then of course utilize their power moving forward, the Braves pitchers are going to have to make the Dodgers adjust to getting ahead of them instead of pitching behind and them controlling the count for tomorrow's game.
The pickoff is thrown away. It ricochets off the sidewall. Puig is heading for third, and he's going to make it easily.
Well, he's going to make it easily only because Albies could not pick up the ball. I thought when he first got to second base, he was going to be definitely out at third. And here's the pickoff play. And then once he sees this ball go to there, right there, he doesn't even think about not stopping. And Albies picks it up. And I think he's out at third, but he doesn't pick it up. And the aggressiveness of Puig, it's nice to have a 5-0 lead to be that aggressive.
E1, and now the infield comes in against Hernandez.
Remember, this was the guy, runner on third, less than 2 outs, that Dave Roberts thought could definitely put the ball in play when needed. We've seen the power from Kike Hernandez when nobody's on, and certainly having a great year. Now we'll see if he has the bat control to get in Puig.
To your earlier point, I count 7 walks issued by Atlanta pitchers tonight.
And you know, that's just going to be natural. I mean, when you're facing a lineup as deep as the Dodgers have, and the count goes against you, you're not going to try to get back in the count with anything over the middle of the plate. So
Three and 0.
Puig is known for his demonstrative and tongue action.
Little Michael Jordan action there.
He does it when he's catching a fly ball. He does it when he's running, hitting, grabbing his hitting coach.
There's the 8th walk.
It's so hard to explain to casual viewers at home the difference between a regular season game and a postseason game. And the best way I can explain it is that in a regular season game, the crowd sits back and cheers when something good happens, but doesn't anticipate things happening and doesn't create tension. And when you get into these moments, you breathe differently, and the problem is you try so hard to do your best that you can actually get away from what makes you good.
You were one of the best in October. I'll ask you to explain it when we come back. Quick break here.
YouTube TV, cable-free live TV is here. Try it free.
Okay, so you were one of the best postseason pitchers, not just of your generation, but of all time. And you pitched some of those great games when you were a relatively young pitcher. So how did you get past the butterflies?
You got to trust yourself, trust your stuff, and not be afraid to fail. And the biggest point is you got to be able to put yourself, if you don't want these moments or you're afraid of these moments, then the worst has a chance to come out. And not being afraid to fail, I know that seems simple. That is a big part of what keeps guys from performing at the highest level when the tension and the moment's the greatest.
Talk about performing at the highest level. This guy, David Freese, now a Dodger, did it 7 Octobers ago for the St. Louis Cardinals.
And there's the breaking ball I was looking to see. We hadn't seen any of them. He's trying to command and aggressively pitch with the fastball. And then finally, maybe that meeting at the mound reminded him, you got one of the best breaking balls in the game. Let's see it.
Pinch hitting here for Caleb Ferguson. Looks like Alex Wood will work the 9th for the Dodgers. The 0-1 pitch with Hernandez taking off, and he steals second without a play.
And that's the only other downside with as long as it takes Sabathia to deliver the baseball. Long levers, long arms, is slow to the plate. A lot of relievers in this game don't really have the ability to pay attention to the runner and trying to make the best quality pitch they can. Not enough teams take advantage of that, and the Dodgers definitely did.
So second and third, one out, infield in. And Freese slices one to right. Markakis is going to run it down, but it will be a sacrifice fly. Puig trots to the plate. Hernandez takes third. Not quite as dramatic as what he did for the Cardinals in Game 6 of the World Series against the Rangers in 2011, with the last-ditch triple that tied it, and then eventually the dead center field home run that won it in extra innings.
But that was a professional at bat, and he knew the whole time up there with the velocity that he was going to see. If he didn't overswing and just put a nice swing on it going the other way, he accomplishes that RBI. Head down, not trying to do too much. Let the power come to you. And you know, with the infield drawn in, all you want to do is get the ball in the air.
Jock Peterson takes a ball. You know, you think about Sandy Koufax looking on, and back in the 60s, a typical Dodger win for him or Don Drysdale was Maury Wills got a base hit, stole second, someone moved him to third with a ground ball, sacrifice fly. That was pretty much all that Sandy or Big D would need. they'd win those games 1-0, 2-1. Now these days the Dodgers have 6 runs on 5 hits, but 3 of those 5 hits are homers.
Yeah,
there's Sandy's retired number 32.
I mean, just offensively, they don't take a back seat to anybody. I mean, they're homers, the runs scored, first in the league. They on base percentage you to death, walk you to death, and they've got a lot of depth. I mean, Matt Kemp was their MVP in the first half. He may not see the field for a while because of the right-handed pitching that the Braves have in their starting rotation, and all he did was go to the All-Star game.
Yeah, there he is. He's on the roster, available to pinch hit. Huge first half, tapered off a little bit in the second half. Looking at that retired 32 for Sandy Koufax, people of a certain age will remember what was once a great sports trivia question. The year 1963, when every MVP in the American League, the National League, the NFL, and the then AFL wore number 32. Sandy Koufax, Elston Howard, Jimmy Brown, and in the AFL, Cookie Gilchrist of the Buffalo Bills. Bounce toward Freeman. He'll take it not by himself. He'll underhand it and make it a 3-1 put out, and that puts an end to the Dodger 8. But they'll take a 6-0 lead to the 9th. This copyrighted telecast has been presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. But I'm pretty sure that Hyunjin Ryu can have a copy of the tape anytime he wants to savor it, because he was on his game tonight.
Yeah, he was outstanding. No stress, really, and that's really what you want as Alex Wood comes in trying to finish this thing off. And Alex Wood had a great campaign last year, and see what he's done on the year so far.
Well, he appeared in 33 games during the regular season, 27 of them starts, but in the postseason you're going to see Alex Wood and maybe Rich Hill, people like that, who are generally starters, used at least on occasion in relief. Popped into shallow right, Puig chasing after it near the line and making the catch in foul ground. He is fun to watch.
A lot of talent, a lot of speed, and certainly a great arm. And there's the, well, the tongue didn't stay out the whole time. He had to make sure as he catches this into the area where there's not much foul territory and towards the foul pole.
Freddie Freeman fouls one off. He had a single in the first. After that, grounded out and flied out.
Just amazing, having been in so many of these best of fives. Never liked best of fives, by the way. I thought the truest form is a best of 7 series, but nonetheless, it's the system we have, and you know you can't get away with too many hiccups. You have to play more perfect baseball. And so the anticipation of what might happen, could this happen, and then really a couple pitches, that's it. Changes the flow of the game, changes the whole mindset of the game, and then it's on to tomorrow. And your next guy up has to give your team the best chance to win on the mound.
Freeman strikes out, and let's quickly check with Tom.
Well, Freddie Freeman's going to see a lot of lefties in this series, but he's got a terrific approach against them. It's all about his front side. Watch the way he keeps that front shoulder not only in, but drives it down towards the baseball. A lot of lefties will give ground to try to cheat on two-seamers in, and the breaking ball that starts at the body. Freddie's approach is to keep that front side in, take the ball the other way. He's the best lefty against lefties as far as staying in that I've seen since another first baseman, Keith Hernandez.
Yeah, Keith was really good in that regard, and he might have been the best defensive first baseman ever. 11 Gold Gloves. So here's Markakis, 0 for 3 for the night. Had a terrific season, but it ended with him going 3 for 23. So you combine it with tonight, he's 3 for his last 26. A line drive to right, and Puig cannot put an end to it. Made a diving attempt, but couldn't make the play, and it's a 2-out hit for Markakis.
Pretty good scoop once he committed to the dive. Otherwise, that's Markakis doing a lot of running.
Yeah. Triple at least, if it had gotten by him. So now it's Flowers. And everything has not come up roses for him tonight.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. So assuming the Braves lose this one, which is a reasonable assumption, here you are, the underdog. There's Brian Snitker, who's going to be in the discussion for Manager of the Year. His team's got to win 3 out of 4 against a team that was heavily favored to begin with, and which, counting this one, will have beaten his team 6 out of 8 this year. It's off the glove of Muncy. He scrambles after it, but there's no one there to cover first. There's no play, and Flowers has a base hit. So a pair of 2-out singles. And Roberts walks to the mound. They have a 6-run lead, but he wants the ball. And he's going to call for Dylan Floro. Ozzie Albies will be at the plate when we come back. On Sunday, the MLB Network will be in Denver as Charlie Blackmon and the wildcard winning Rockies host likely MVP Christian Yelich and the NL Central champion Brewers. Join Jim Koch, John Morosi, and me for the Doosan NLDS Game 3, Brewers versus Rockies, Sunday at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, here on MLB Network. The telecast presented by Geico. And for those actually attending the game, 2:30 Mountain. Albies, the switch hitter from the left side. Ball 1 from Dylan Floro. Kenley Jansen is now throwing in the Dodger bullpen.
Dave Roberts is not going to get anything close to a rally if he can help it.
This should end it. Hernandez to Muncy, and the Dodgers win it 6-0. You look at that line score, the Braves actually out-hit the Dodgers 6-5, but all their hits were singles.
Yeah, the power of the Dodgers, and the Dodgers came in on a roll. Of course, they had to win a bunch of games in a row or to get here and then win a playoff game for the division title. They flexed their muscles early and pitched their way to a shutout.
Here's a little package that shows how the Dodgers did it. Winning together, presented by Doosan.
Well, it started with an 0-2 Fastball up just outside the reach of Inciarte, and then a 2-out, nobody on rally, 3-run homer by Muncy, and then another homer by Kike Hernandez. The Dodgers are confident. Why not? They were 1 game from winning the World Series last year. Start this series at home and in good fashion.
Max Muncy has not only been a big story tonight, he's been one of the truly fascinating stories of this 2018 season, and he's with Tom Verducci. Tom.
Max Muncy, a lot of postseason experience on this Dodgers team. First time around for you. How did it feel out there tonight?
It's exciting. It was. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel. I was a little nervous for the game, but you know, as you said, a lot of experience on this team, and that really helped me out. Those guys were as calm as can be in there. They weren't acting like it was anything other than just a regular season game, and that definitely resonated with me.
The game plan was to get Mike Foltynewicz into the strike zone. You did that on the home run. Take us through the approach in that at bat.
You know, he was starting me off with the breaking ball. First at bat, he threw me a lot of them. Not a whole lot of fastball. Second at bat, he started me off with a breaking ball, but it was for a ball. So I just took my chance and said, if he throws me a fastball, I want to make sure I'm ready for it. I'm willing to swing and miss on another pitch, but I don't want to be late on the fastball.
A lot of people might have been surprised to see Hyun-Jin Ryu starting tonight for the Dodgers. You've seen him all year. What impressed you most about his effort tonight?
He was just being himself. You know, he was controlling his changeup, controlling his cutter, moving in and out, controlling the strike zone, getting some swing and misses, but a lot more importantly, he was getting a lot of weak contact, which is what he does. And you know, he was Ryu. He was what we'd seen all year.
Up 1-0, giving the ball to Clayton Kershaw in Game 2 at home. How does that sound?
Sounds pretty good. I don't know if there's anything that can sound much better than that.
Thanks so much. Good game.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Max. Muncy had a 3-run homer. Jock Peterson and Kike Hernandez had solo shots. Hyun-Jin Ryu was just magnificent.
7 innings, 4 hits, didn't walk anybody. Shutout ball, struck out 7, gets the win. And the Dodgers go up 1-0 in the best of 5.
Threw strikes, kept them off balance, and an aggressive lineup that the Braves can throw at you. And it's going to be much of the same with Clayton Kershaw. He commands the strike zone. Braves are going to have to take advantage of any mistakes that are there, and Anibal Sanchez is going to have to be really good.
Might as well put Tom Verducci back to work. He's with Jock Peterson.
And Jock Peterson, you got the night off to a big start with the leadoff home run. Walk me through that at bat. Your first 0-2 count for a home run this season.
Yeah, you know, he's got some plus stuff. I wanted to be aggressive, and I mean, this throws 98 miles per hour, so I was really trying to be short and quick to it, and you know, I was able to get a pitch up and elevate it on the barrel.
8 walks tonight, 3 home runs. The Dodgers led the league in walks and in home runs. Is this the Dodger offense at its best, this type of game?
Yeah, you know, that's something we do special, is really tough outs 1 through 9, and I mean, Muncy, JT have some of the best eyes I've ever played with, and it's a quality at bat almost every time. So when they're getting on and setting the tone, you know, guys behind it takes the pressure off.
And you know, with a 1-0 lead, you give the ball to Clayton Kershaw for Game 2. How confident are you at this point, knowing you have a lead and Kershaw on the mound?
Yeah, you know, it's nice going into a home series 1-0, and yeah, Kershaw's the man. You know, when we go out there, there's an extra bit of confidence when he's on the mound. I think that goes without saying, and you know, we're excited for tomorrow, and he comes out here and does what he needs to do. I think we're put ourselves in a good spot.
Jock, thanks so much.
Right on. Thank you.
Thanks to you, Bob.
All right, Tom, Smoltz, thank you. Thanks to Elliot Cow, Mr. Stats in the booth, Chris Pfeiffer, John Moore, and the whole crew in the truck. And a reminder that Sunday at 4:30 Eastern Time here on MLB Network, it's Game 3 of the NLDS between the Brewers and the Rockies. And coming up next, MLB Tonight, presented by Evan Williams Bourbon, with Greg Amsinger, Joe Girardi, Harold Reynolds, and Al Leiter. For Tom Verducci and John Smoltz, Bob Costas saying so long from Los Angeles, and thank you for watching the Doosan NLDS telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico.